Tempers flared, but tires didn't wear at this year's All-Star race at North Wilkesboro Speedway.
Everybody likes a winner, right?
A 3-wide finish.
That was old school ass whipping.
Boogity, boogity, boogity. Ooh, let's go racing today, boys.
This year's All-Star race at North Wilkesboro just wrapped up, and although I thought it was a better All-Star race than we've seen in quite a while, I left the race fairly disappointed. We came into this year's race hearing big promises from Goodyear and NASCAR about the soft tire that they were going to be implementing at the race this year. And although I did think the tire made for some better racing than we would have seen had we only had the traditional hard tire, we saw almost no tire fall off on the soft tire, which is what was supposed to create the exciting racing. Because of that, Joey Logano started on pole and led 199 of 200 laps and ultimately won the race. Congratulations to the 22 team who's taking home $1 million. That's a team who really needed a good win like that, even if it's not going to count in the points. With that being said, let's get into the race. The first storyline of the week was the weather. All of Saturday's events ended up getting canceled or postponed, with open qualifying and heat races all being canceled to the torrential rain. Because of this, we ended up having to set the field by Saturday morning's qualifying sessions that were supposed to be for the heat races. Instead, that qualifying session essentially became the qualifying session for the race. The other big story we were following before the race was Kyle Larson and his ability or his inability to be able to race at North Wilkesboro this week. Larson was obviously practicing and qualifying for the Indy 500 this week, and had he not been so fast, it wouldn't have been an issue. However, he kept qualifying for the next round of qualifying because he was so fast. However, during that final round of qualifying, Larson qualified 5th for the Indy 500, after which he got on a helicopter, which took him to a plane, which took him to another helicopter, which took him to North Wilkesboro. NASCAR had actually moved the start of the race back to 8:30 to be able to accommodate Larson to get him to the track. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people who are screaming about Hendrick favoritism after that move, and I get it. However, this is a huge deal for NASCAR, for Larson, and for IndyCar. It's going to bring a ton of eyes to the sport. And honestly, I think this was a business move for NASCAR as much as it was to accommodate Larson. I think that they know if Larson is at the race, you're going to have IndyCar fans tuning in. And I think we're going to see that because he was there, ratings are going to be through the roof this week. I'm really curious to see what the TV ratings come out at, to see if that's true, but I expect to see a really big number. I'm not going to talk too much about the All-Star Open. For the most part, it was a pretty slow race. We end up having Ty Gibbs take the win and Bubba Wallace come in second, making them the two drivers to transfer over to the main event. One thing that is noteworthy about this is the second year in a row that Ty Gibbs has transferred into the All-Star race from the Open. A noteworthy driver who didn't transfer in and also didn't get the fan vote is Alex Bowman, a Hendrick driver. I'm at a point with Alex Bowman that I'm really wondering how much longer he's going to be in the 48 car. He wasn't good enough to transfer in an open race, and he isn't popular enough to get the fan vote. For a Hendrick driver, that's not good. Speaking of the fan vote was won for the second year in a row by Noah Gragson. Noah was one of the drivers who made a big deal about campaigning for your vote this year. He was even handing out flyers and pamphlets in the infield at the races. I really respected that, and I wasn't at all surprised that he won this year's fan vote. Getting into the start of the race, on lap 2 we had a caution with the 47 spinning into the wall. This incident became a huge deal throughout and at the end of the race. What happened here is the prior turn, the 47 and the 8 were in the top of 3. The 47 ended up getting the 8 into the wall. Whether that's the 47's fault or the 8's fault is debatable. For me, I'm putting this on the 47. The 8 technically bounced off the wall and came back into the 47. However, I think the 47 is the reason that the 8 was in the wall in the first place. After the incident, the 8 ran down the 47 in the next turn and spun him into the wall, ending his day. The 47 ended up driving his car into the 8's pit box and parking it there. After he got out of the car, he immediately went over to the 8's crew and started yelling at his crew chief and team. Once he was cleared from the medical center, it was obvious that he had something planned for after the race. But we'll get to that later. One thing I thought was interesting about this event, however, is without the soft tires, even though they may not have been what we expected, I don't know that the 8 would have even been able to get to the 47 to spin him in the first place. That's something we haven't seen in a while. We saw a lot more bumping and running and a lot more pushing through the turns than we've seen recently. From that standpoint, it was good to see some old-fashioned short-track racing. And with this event only happening on lap 2, I thought this was going to be a harbinger of what was to come later in the race. Unfortunately, that's not what happened. During the yellow, we saw most of the field pit. However, the leaders decided not to. I thought for sure the leaders were going to get passed immediately once we went green again. However, that obviously didn't happen, with Joey Logano leading 199 laps in this race. The field stayed green until what was the end of what I guess we're calling stage 1. At that point, everybody had to come in and change tires. What was surprising, however, was the fact that the leaders in stage 1 were able to run 100 laps on the soft tires. That was not supposed to happen. All of the cars who came in during the yellow put on the hard tires, and we thought for sure that they were going to pass all of the cars on soft tires later in the run, but it simply just didn't happen. From this point on, I'm pretty sure every car in the field was running soft tires because there was no reason not to. I was really excited to see the tire fall off and to see the battling in the tire strategy. However, because of, I guess, how hard the tire was, we didn't see that. Overall, the tire was a big letdown. Now, as I said, I thought the racing was a little bit better than what it could have been. I think the so-called soft tire is better than the hard tire, but it's still not where it needs to be. I do think this is a good sign that NASCAR and Goodyear are trying to make a good racing tire that Goodyear is willing to put out on the track. However, they still have a long way to go. Stage 2, for the most part, was just running laps. There wasn't a ton of passing and there wasn't a ton of action. The only thing at this point that got interesting was at the start of stage 3, we had some cars come in and pit. Again, we didn't see the 22 come in, and he ended up running the final 100 laps on the same tires once again. The 5, however, pit, and he was able to get up to third place quickly. He was charging toward the leaders. However, he had a great short run car, but did not have a good long run car. He fell off pretty quick and fell back to 2.5 seconds to where he eventually got passed by the 17. I was really rooting for Larson here. It would have been an awesome story had he been able to come away with the win. He still came away with a 4th place finish, which is amazing in its own right. However, it's not the win, so it's going to get swept under the rug. As far as the track goes, it looked like it was a good race. The drivers were saying good things about the track, and you saw multiple racing lines throughout the entire race. I really think with a better tire, this could be an amazing race, and I really think we should consider making it a points race. As I said, ultimately, Joey Logano and the 22 team came away with the win and $1 million. This is Ford's second win in 2 weeks, and hopefully this will kickstart some momentum for them. However, the most interesting thing about the entire race happened off the track and away from the start-finish line. It actually happened back by the haulers, where the 47 of Ricky Stenhouse made good on his promise. He found the 8 of Kyle Busch, and after they both yelled at each other for a little bit, the 47 drew back and punched the 8 of Kyle Busch right in the face. After the punch was thrown, both teams started fighting, which was particularly dangerous because there were tires around and the teams continually kept falling over these tires. And some of the fighting was actually going on the metal lift gates of the trucks. It started to turn into a ladder match of some sort. The chaos on and off the track between the 47 and the 8 became the most exciting thing that happened for the entire race, which is extremely disappointing. Overall, I thought it was an okay race. Early in the run, I thought it was interesting. However, late in the run, the tire fall off just wasn't there, and it just made for boring racing. But let me know down in the comments. I really want to know what you think of this race. Were you disappointed with the tires, or did you think that there were some good things that came out of it? Let me know down in the comments. While you're there, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Make like Christopher and hit that bell so you can get notified on all of our latest NASCAR content. I appreciate you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you next time.